Hi friends, Namaste. I am Ananta Sharma. Well, dear friends, it is just 2 years, 2 into 12, 24 months, 2 into 365, so many days since we have launched this YouTube channel and began presenting videos explaining Jaimini astrology. This system of astrology, that is Jaimini system, is very much talked about, but least studied and practiced. I know there are some scholars, very great scholars of Jaimini astrology, but give predictions on basing on some other system. Even the best enthusiasts make a good beginning to study Jaimini astrology, but leave it even without completing the first lesson. The reason is differences of opinions, confusions, controversies, etc. The first lesson to learn Jaimini astrology is how to draw the Arudha chart. Some scholars follow only general principle, of course, which I followed, and to identify the padas, but some others follow special rules or exceptions, what they call, to draw the chart, Arudha chart. The unfortunate thing is no scholar has explained why he was following that particular method and why he is discarding this method like this. Sir, Sri Vemuri Ramurthy Shastri was my guru, great scholar, very, very great scholar. But even K.N. Rao also claims that he is his guru. I saw Vemuri, but K.N. Rao did not. So Vemuri and Sri K.N. Rao, Sri B.V. Raman and others followed only general rule. They did not consider exceptions or special rules. Why? They never explained. This is the problem. I followed general principle only. Why? I published a book, Casting of Arudhas the Right Way, in which I explained that the exceptions or special rules are not relevant. They are not correct. They are not rational and hence not acceptable. I justified my stand with the help of 20 charts. 20 charts. Some scholars say there are 8 charakarakas. And some include Rahu also and say 8 charakarakas. Some exclude Rahu and say there are only 7 charakarakas. I followed only 7 charakarakas. And Sri K.N. Rao, Sri Vemuri also followed, considered only 7 charakarakas. Again, there is a controversy regarding the use of Drakana chart, Navamsa chart, etc. Every step, there are controversies. There are contradictions. There are differences of opinion. How to choose Navamsa chart is itself is a big controversy. How to choose a Drakana chart, again a controversy. There is Parashara Navamsa, then Krishna Mishra Navamsa, and Swaminatha Navamsa. Which is good and which is bad. So again, there are 3 types of Drakanas. For example, there are Parasara Drakana, Krama, Vyotkrama Drakana, Parivrittitraya Drakana, which is also called Varanasi Drakana. But some people say you must follow this. Some people say you must follow this. So nobody can make anything. I followed Parasara Navamsa and Parasara Drakana only. Not only this, I followed all divisional charts whenever necessary, given by Parasara only. Not only this, I followed what Parasara enjoined us to study Prakana for brothers, the brothers and sisters, D9 for spouse and married life and multiple marriages, Dvadashamsa to study about parents, Dashamamsa uh, to study profession of the native, then Chaturvimshamsa or Siddhamsa, D24 to study the education of the native, Vimshamsa D20 to study the spiritual progress and practice, spiritual practice and progress of the native, Saptamansha D7 for children, etc. I followed all the divisional charts without considering divisional charts. I never explained anything. I followed all Parasara divisional charts. I wrote a book, Jaimini Arudhas and the Divisional Charts, where published by Sagar Publications in New Delhi to show the importance of these divisional charts. And I followed Parasara divisional charts. There is a secret regarding Upapada. This is very important, you see. We study UL. UL is Upapada Lagna. And the second from Upapada Lagna to know about the spouse, married life, and multiple marriages, etc. If somebody asks you, suppose you are teaching Jaimini to your students, one of the students asks you, sir, there is Dharapada, you explain Dharapada, Bhagyapada, Matrupada, Putrapada, etc. Then by this Upapada and second from Upapada, you can study wife and the spouse and married life through A7, Dharapada, Dharakaraka itself. You cannot answer. This is the problem. So, but what about Dharapada J7 and Dharakaraka DK? They say the Jaimini mentioned A7 Dharapada only in 4 sutras in his entire Jaimini Sutras book. But even those 4 sutras are not relevant to married life. They are for prosperity, financial prosperity, and of course harmony of the couple. Even in those 4 sutras, there is no mention of the details of the spouse or married life. So, this is what is the use of Dharapada or Dharakaraka, DK? So, are they superfluous? So, I revealed in one of my videos here that the Upapada or second from Upapada must be the same as Dharapada or 7 from Dharapada. Must be means in 80% or 90% charts, they are the same. And in the rest of the charts, you can see the Lord of Dharapada or 7th from Dharapada and the Lord of Upapada or 2nd from Upapada, they combine in D9 chart, not in D1 chart. So there is always a connection between these two, Upapada or Dharapada. So then what is the so I revealed in one of my videos that Upapada or second from Upapada must be the same as Dharapada or seventh from Dharapada. You can find this relation in any chart, at least 80 to 85% of the charts. Even if UL and second from UL is not the same as the A7 or 7 from A7, their laws are invariably connected to in the D9 chart. You can verify, it. One more hidden secret about the second from Upapada. So this is very, very important one. In the 4th pada of the first Adhyaya, in the Jaimini Sutras, there are about 10 to 12 sutras, or even 1 or 2 more, which talk about the spouse, marriage, multiple marriages, or whether the spouse comes from a family of higher status or low status, like this. All these sutras are defined with respect to UL or second from UL. Every sutra says the Lord of the UL or Lord of the second from UL is exalted. This is the result like this. If the UL or the second from UL is occupied by or aspected by benefits, the wife of the native is beautiful, virtuous, and educated. Here, the confusion is if UL or second from UL, etc., the qualities or what is the result or etc., the question arises. See, if which is the result of UL or which is the result of second from UL. If UL is occupied by a benefic and the second from UL is occupied by a malefic, what is the result? So this is the inconsistency. So the benefic and the second from UL is connected to a malefic, what then? So it is not clear. So I posed this question to my book, first book, Jaimini Sutra Deepika. You can see this question in that book, in my very first book. When we will see the results, apply the results either to upapada or second from upapada, then what if one is connected to a malefic and the other is connected to a benefic? So I wrote in page number 115 in Sutra Deepika. Consider UL, second from UL, as two separate aspects. UL indicates the native. This is my proposition. UL indicates the native, and the second from UL indicates the spouse. The third was my first book, and it was the beginning of my study of Jaiminiastrology. Even now, I confirm that opinion, the same result. So this problem arises, I tell you why. The second from UL signifies the spouse, and the UL signifies the native, and is a sex life. This is this can explain. Best example. Why Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had a wife, but not sex. It was a traditional marriage. I think she was married at the age of 9 or 10. Saradamba lived throughout together with Paramahamsa, and they never had sex. She was there even after the Paramahamsa 18 Siddhi. So, but they never had sex. He always treated her as Saradama. So, see the D9 chart of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, then you can understand the UL is afflicted by a that is Murchupada. And other malefics. The second from UL is not afflicted. So there is spouse is there, but his sex life. But sex life, he is not by compulsion or by force he controlled. He controlled the desires, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Boha, Madamatsaya, Harishat Vargas by his tapas. This is very important. Somebody may not marry, or his wife may not cooperate. He is a bedridden, always a patient. He may not have enough sex enjoyment, but he cannot control is only by force. But Ramakrishna Paramahamsa controlled it, or Kanchi Paramacharya controlled it, Ramana Maharshi controlled it, not by force. It is only by sadhana they controlled Arishad workers. Similarly, there are natives who lost or divorced their spouse, but they have tempestuous relationships. For example, you see the D9 chart of Marilyn Monroe and the Elizabeth Taylor, very famous, very notorious. Their UL is well with A5 or PK and other benefics, but their second from UL is afflicted. So Marilyn Monroe married, I think, three persons officially. Then, but she was never starved for want of sex. She has enough. The UL shows the sex life, and the second from UL shows spouse is by innovation. And certainly I say it is by innovation. Next, Jaimini enjoins us to study progeny and children from the 5th or 11th house from Upapada. Again, this is a problem. There is Putrapada A5, 5th from A5, Arudha of the 5th house. 5th house signifies children. So, but what about Putrapada A5? and Putrakaraka PK. Putrapada and Putrakaraka are also defined by Jaimini. It is not my creation, but the sage never explained how to use A5 and PK to understand the progeny of the native. I showed that the Putrapada A5 are the fifth from A5 and their laws are always connected to the fifth or 11th from upapada and their laws in the D7 chart. They may not be connected in the D1 chart. That is, upapada panchama is the house of progeny. Upapada labha, 11th house. That is also house of progeny. But I say putrapada is also, I consider house of progeny, fifth from putrapada. So the coincidence is either the fifth from upapada or 11th from upapada must be the same as A5 or fifth from A5, or even their laws are connected, just like UL and A7. In the same way, Jaimini enjoins us to study brothers and sisters from the third and 11th houses from Upapada and their lords, Upapada and their lords. But what about Bhratrakaraka? Again, the same question. The sage never explained how to use A3, Lord of A3, or BK to understand about the uh, oborons of the native. I showed that the A3, the third from A3, BK, the third from A3 houses, and their lots from A3, but their lots from A3 are always connected to the third and 11th houses from the Upapada in the D3 chart, which shows brothers and sisters. This says Jaimini wants us to study the profession of the native from Karakamsha Lakna and the 10th from Karakamsha Lakna. This age also defines the Rajyapada Yetan Arud of the 10th house. 10th house signifies profession, is very famous. Everybody accepts it. And also defines Amarcha Karaka, the Karaka of the 10th house, as to Karaka of profession. But this age always explained how to apply Rajyapada, never explained how to apply Rajyapada, Amarcha Karaka to understand to predict the profession of the native. We always use Karakamsha Lagna or the 10th from Karakamsha Lagna. I showed that Karakamsha Lagna or the 10th from Karakamsha Lagna always is connected to Atma Karaka and A10, Rajyapada. Rajyapada and Karakamsha Lagna, you see the juxtapositions. Either A10 is in the 10th house from Karakamsha Lagna, or both are in the same house, or Atma Karaka in the A10, like this. You can see the connections, very close connections between Karakamsha Lagna and A10. I showed that Karakamsha Lagna are the 10th from Karakamsha Lagna, and their laws are always connected. The Rajyapada A10, the 10th from Rajyapada, their laws in the D10 chart. They may not be connected in the D1 chart, but certainly they are connected in the D10 chart. Similarly, Jaimini wants us to study about the education of the native from Karakamsha Lagna or the second, third, and fifth from Karakamsha Lagna. If the native has, say, Venus in the Karakamsha Lagna or second or third or fifth from Karakamsha Lagna, the native is a poet or he is a dancer, etc., etc. So there are yogas for education. So they are all defined with reference to Karakamsha Lagna, the second, third, and fifth Karakamsha, these four places. But there is no mention of the Putrapada. Putrapada is the Arudha of the fifth house. Fifth house stands for education. So he never he never took A5 Putrapada into consideration for the study of education. So the Arudha of the fifth house and the Putra Karaka PK in the context of studying academic achievements of the native. I showed that the Karakamsha Lagna are the second, third, or fifth from Karakamsha Lagna are always connected to A5 or fifth from A5 and their lords in the D24 chart for education. You see those charts which we have studied. The Karakamsha Lagna, third from Karakamsha Lagna is Simha, A5 is in Tola. That means third from Karkam's Lagna, occupied by uh, A5. Like this, you find a close connection between the places from Karakam's Lagna, second, third, and fifth from Karakam's Lagna, and A5. So the sage never mentioned much about the divisional charts, Dasvamsha, D10, Chaturvimshamsa, etc., etc. I showed that the Arudha, that is the 11th house from Arudha Lagna, in almost all the charts is connected to the Rajyapada A10 in 90% of the cases. The Rajyapada A10 are the 10th from A10. Arudha Lord of the Arudha, Lord of A10, Lord of 10th from A10. So, Lord Arudha and Lord of Arudha, they are always connected to A10 or second from A10 or the lords in the B10 chart. So, connections between Padas and what Jaimini used. I studied and explained to predict the profession of the native by studying the connections of Arudhalava, Rajyapada, they lost with the Amachakaraka, the Padas, and lots of Padas, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, etc. With regard to the Jaimini Dasha system, so Sri Vemuri Ramurti Shastri used to apply Padanadhamsa Dasha and give predictions all through his life for over 50 years. He was said to be the most successful uh, astrologer. Again, there are differences of opinion regarding the Padakrama, or the order of sequence of the Padas. Padakrama or the order of the Mahadashas. I followed his method, but the Padmanabham Sadasya was described by Krishna Mishra, but what he followed is different from what our Guru followed, and I followed my Guru. Even with regard to the timing of events, he considered the Mahadasha side, so this is very important. So, how to, all right, there is a chart is given, Mahadasha is decided, Antardasha is decided, and you have to see the timing of the marriage. Usually, I say, subject to correction, they say Mahadasha sign and Antardasha sign. And the connections of Mahadasha sign and Antardasha sign to A7 or Lord of A7 are DK. This is generally how predictions are made using Charadasha or Charadasha, Karakadasha, etc., etc., Jaimini Dashas. There are several Jaimini Dashas. So, there are some people who use Dvara Rasi and Bahya Rasi. There are two technical names. Dvara, Bahya Rasi. These two Rasis are used in the context of Dasha system. But I did not use those Dvara and Bahya system. I did not want to make as Jaimini as simple as possible without the much use of technical names. So, for example, there are Brahma, Maheshwara, Rudra, Aprani Rudra. Oh, there are so many things which I just uh, I took a different path. I consider the Antardasha sign and the sign which signifies the event in question. Just for example, you have seen already my videos on Padanadam Sadasya. We want to see the timing of marriage. I considered the Antardasha sign and the seventh from Antardasha sign. They lost with A7, 7 from A7, they lost, and also the seventh Dashakaraka. The Dashakaraka system is well known. And I remember to have studied even Sri K.N. Rao Sab advised his students to follow Charakarkas, Atmakarka, Machakarka, Dharakarka, etc. But I tried Dashakarkas, which were followed by Remuri. If we are asked to tell the time of getting job, I consider the Antardasha sign and the 10th from Antardasha sign, their lords. Antardasha sign is common, it is usual. I use a 10th from Antardasha sign in addition. And their connection with A10 or 10th from A10, their lords and also with the 10th Dashakaraka. So you can try this method. So, well, dear friends, this is my contribution to Jaimini astrology and explained it in these videos about numbering about 120. I think I sorted out the controversies, the confusions in Jaimini astrology, and paved a clear and soft path for those who are interested to learn Jaimini astrology. I seek your approval of my claim. So, is it my tall claim for which I do not deserve, or whether I deserve? You please, it is for you to tell, and you please listen to all my videos in order, not random, one after another. If you like them, you please press the like button. It is your discretion. If you please subscribe, it is your will and pleasure. But please share the videos to others, to as many friends as possible. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Swasti.